Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with Little Box, another offline product gaming review. This is Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance for the PlayStation 2. Now, Dark Alliance is a kind of a Diablo-esque style game, if you will. It's basically a hack and slash RPG action looter style game, and it's a top view style, like over the head. Now, it's got a bit of a more of a story narrative, and you can choose between three characters. You got the human, the dwarf, and the sorceress elf. And each one has their own abilities and what they can equip and what they cannot equip and what weapons they can and cannot use. As well as you can play the entire game one player or two players. Now the game is, as I said, a story narrative kind of style, but as Baldur Gates, it's kind of a Dungeons & Dragons-esque game, where you have some Dungeons & Dragons enemies, lore, environments, and so on. But don't take this as a Dungeons & Dragons game. It's more of a hack and slash style game, as it doesn't really follow the rules of Dungeons & Dragons, only minute things here and there, like leveling up. You get a certain amount of points. You can put one in your abilities, increasing your strength and your wisdom and intelligence, and eventually you can put more points into unlocking spells and abilities. Other than that, it doesn't, like I said, follow the rules. Like the sorceress can wear full plated armor and use a sword and like really big swords and stuff like that. Then I don't know the true depth of Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm pretty sure a sorceress can't be wearing full plated armor unless you dedicated points into doing that. So it's just something to keep in mind, that it is the skin of Dungeons and Dragons, but it's not Dungeons and Dragons in terms of the actual play style of what Dungeons & Dragons is. Now, I do have a bit of history with Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Long ago, I was bought for me as a Christmas present long ago when I had PlayStation 2. And this isn't the Christmas one I have, but this physical copy is oddly more meaningful to me than that Christmas gift I got. This one, my mom actually got at a yard sale, and that's when I was started doing my physical collecting. She was kind of supportive, and she went to a yard sale and came across Dark Alliance 1 and 2 for like $40 and picked up both of them for me to add in my collection. It was very random. Of course, I paid her back for it, but I don't know. It's got some significance to me. So it was really fun to sit down and play through it. Then this game that my mom went out her way to add to my collection. Of course, I paid her back for it, but I have the first one and the second one, but I only have any nostalgia with the first one. Now, going into the history of this game, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's not the best. It's got some problems, like enemies can hit you like a truck. At the beginning, it's not that bad, but later on, you'll find yourself being instantly killed by hordes of enemies that swarm you, and a lot of them can immediately take you down within most of your life in a couple hits, and it's fairly aggravating and tedious, as well as that like potions and mana potions and arrows weigh a ton for your inventory to carry, so you can't really hold a lot of them. And when you need to go let your health recover because you're out of potions, you just basically gotta fall back and slowly wait for your health to regenerate. I do wish that you could like go to a save point and it like restored your life, because that would have made the progress at least a little bit quicker, but it is tedious in that area. And the fact that the game almost treats it like you should be spamming the health potion, even though they weigh a lot, considering what you can carry between your character. As well as that, the sorceress, I noticed, had a power that pretty much breaks the game. She can summon a flying sword that will attack for her, and it lasts for about a minute, but she can just keep casting it, and it just basically eliminates all bosses for you. You just basically cast that spell, back away to keep your shield up, because your shield is immunity wall. I mean, enemies can't hurt you when you get your shield up, and just let the sword beat on the boss for you. It was comically easy beating the final boss and the Snot Ice Dragon and so on and so forth. It's a ridiculously overpowered spell in the game, but it was still fun to go through the game. It's not a super long action looters style game, but it's got some cool equipment and armors you can get and abilities and so on, and it's just it's pretty much a straightforward game. I do think the voice acting and the animation for its time and just the overall expression of the game is relatively good. Even though I thought it was odd that at the beginning of the game they kind of introduced like a secret wall or the environmental jumping around and puzzles and stuff like that. But later on in the game, they kind of like forget that's an option in the game, because I unless it's not appearing on the map and they expect me to run around the entire wall pushing X, I never found a secret room. And on top of that, they never had like obstacles to jump around later in the game. Like they just completely forgot that was a thing they can do in the game. It was pretty funny when I came back instead of recording and it noticed that. It was just basically a nostalgic trick for me to go through this game again. I'm sure some people have some fond memories and this good memories of playing with somebody, their dad or their son or just friends or something like that, because it could be a fun two-player game back in the day. And I do remember having to cooperate with my brothers when playing this, because you had to play you could play two players, and back then when you had a kid and your Christmas gift, you just sat down and played together on it. It was relatively pretty good. I do remember my dad being disappointed because it's not really Dungeons & Dragons-esque style, because he is a Dungeons & Dragons player. So I just always remember that, because it really isn't really Dungeons & Dragons other than just being the skin of Dungeons & Dragons. But I still had fun with the game. I did get repetitive and boring near the end, because I basically had the most powerful gear, full-plated armor, trying to find the better weapon, randomly drops. Like, it was odd that I was mostly finding better weapons at the store than random drops, and that's not common in these kinds of games. Usually you don't really waste your money on buying a weapon at a store, because you can find a better one by drops. In the end, I do recommend the game. I think it's fairly cheap at the time of making this video, and it's a nice game to have in your collection, but there's better games. Like Champions Return to Arms is a lot more deeper, a lot more content, a lot more variables in your abilities and so on, and sometimes it's a little annoying that when you're trying to level up your character, you have to wait. So you build up points, and sometimes you don't have enough points. So now you have to wait for the next level before you can start investing those points to get one ability. That can be tedious in that area because it was just like, oh, I finally got a level. Well, can't do nothing with that level. It's kind of like what Dungeons & Dragons used. By my understanding, I've never actually sat down and played Dungeons & Dragons, but you usually invest your points in something. And aggravatingly, you can't reset your points. So make sure you put your points where you want them because you won't be able to change it later. So just keep that in mind. So basically, make a save and get the ability, check it out and everything like that. If you don't like it, reload your save and check out other abilities if you can. Like I said, it's worthy of being in your collection, but there's literally better options than this game, other than you going back for nostalgia. But I can't rate stuff on nostalgia, which I do, but I have to be real about the game. It's got problems. Enemies can hit you like a truck, and you can instantly die. It's really hard to notice when you're being hit, because sometimes your character doesn't do an animation, so you don't even realize you got like half your health got hit in one hit. You could be overwhelmed by enemies that could just instantly hit and kill you. It would have probably been better if you could see a number on your character, like when she gets damaged or he gets damaged. That way you can get a better idea that you just got hit. But other than that, like I said, the broken some of the abilities, like the shield is overpowerful. You just keep your guard up. Nobody can ever penetrate your guard. Like the spell, the flying sword. Arrows and health potions weighing a ton. Don't even try to use arrows because they're heavy. They're trying to keep them. And again, it does get a bit bland near the end of the game. It feels like they kind of just were rushing or kind of gave up on trying to implement the jumping mechanics and environmental mechanics and just secret rooms and so on. Unless I just ran to the game and just never found any because it just was odd. I never came across it again. So, like always, I try to leave links down in the description if you're instant copy. I do recommend the game at the time because I noticed it was fairly cheap. The second one is the more expensive one, which I'm glad I have, and I'll definitely try to check that out because I never played it before. But I have heard that they are doing a port of the first and the second one for newer generation consoles. So I really hope we can get a new physical copy out there with 1 and 2 on one disc, because that would be an amazing collect thing, because these kind of games have been dwindling away, and a lot of these games are only available on a few platforms like Xbox or just PlayStation. I don't think a lot of them are even available on GameCube and so on. So it'd be better to see a new updated or more report of the game on newer hardware. So like always, thank you all for watching. I'll try to leave links down in the description if you're instant copy, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye bye.